Welcome back to the I Do Crew podcast with Jen and Nutsy.
Oh, no. No, 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 no. Thank you very much.
Please like, subscribe, rate, review our podcast on the platform you listen or watch us on. We really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for being here with us every week. Please also share the podcast, share any stories that we're putting onto our Instagram account. It really helps just to spread the word and the joy and the love and everything that we want to share with you. This week we are talking about what we would change if we were to do our weddings again, including some lovely stories from our listeners. You okay?
I'm good, thank you.
Or not see, should I say?
My name is Emma. Thank you. Thank you. I'm good actually. I've got a bit of if you're watching on YouTube, you might notice that my eyes are a bit red and sore. I've had some kind of allergic reaction. I sent a picture to Jen this morning and it looked like I'd been punched in the face. Luckily, they've calmed down a little bit, but
Yeah, it doesn't look like that at all, I would say.
I think it just look like I've sort of strategically put some pink eyeshadow on,
Yes.
a la the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, it's just scabby skin, which is great.
God. So last week we asked you to let us know what you wanted to hear about on the podcast. This is one of the subjects that our listeners got in touch with and said that they'd just like to know what we would change if we were to do it all again. We also put the question out on our Instagram story and got some lovely and insightful comments and feedback from our lovely listeners. So we'll go through those towards the end of the episode. But what would you change if you were to do it all again?
Well, I would like to say that I planned it all perfectly and it just went absolutely amazing and I wouldn't change anything, but that's not the truth.
No?
No, there's quite a lot I would change.
There's quite a lot that you would change.
Yeah,
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
yeah, there is. And I don't know if it's just because I know a bit more now, or my
Mhm.
style's changed a bit. You know, I've grown up. It was 9 years ago. Can't actually remember how long ago it was, but say 9.
Was it 2015?
16, I think. So 8 years then.
8 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so you grow up a bit, don't you? But there are some things that I would definitely speak up a bit about that I didn't, mainly on the day and things. So firstly, I think I would go into we've talked about this before, go into the dress shopping a little bit more clued up
Mm-hmm.
and and go to a few different shops because I just went to one. And even though I love my dress, I think I now would go into that experience wanting to enjoy it rather than just get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
I would also get some help with decorating and styling because
Mm-hmm.
I did it all by myself. But it just adds so much pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Um,
having to, at work, I had come and wrap a jam jar in wool and I'll make you a hot dog
Hot
party.
dogs, yeah. I
Because
was there.
I was just,
I was there for the food more than anything.
yeah, well, that's what, wrap a jam jar, you get, I mean, that was pretty genius, I think.
Yeah. Free
I,
lunch.
but I
But sit
don't
here
think I
and
would
wrap
be
this.
wrapping all my own jam jars again. I made all my own invitations, which I've actually really enjoyed. So I think I would just spend more time doing that rather than wrapping the jam jars. And I didn't really understand how much decor you needed to fill a venue. So there was
Mm-hmm.
just some really empty areas. I didn't have enough, like I did the pom pom things from the ceiling, didn't have enough of them. So they looked a bit sad. So I'd definitely get a company in to just come and do it all and then take it all away again. 100% I would. And I'm not
Yeah.
just saying that because that's what we do. I would 100% do that. I'd also have a celebrant rather than a registrar.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Just have a bit more of a
Personality.
personality and yeah. I literally couldn't tell you what I said, you
You
know.
don't know what your vows were?
No, I just picked them from one of the options.
Yeah.
We'll have option 2, please. So there wasn't much thought that went into that because I didn't really realize that you had a say in all of that. I just, when they say, what do you want, 1, 2, or 3, I just picked the one that
Hmm.
wasn't really too religious and the one that wasn't too bland. So it was number
Hmm.
2. So I think I'd have a celebrant because they're just fun
Yeah, they are fun.
and you can be doing all sorts of things, can't you? Um, I wouldn't get ready at home again.
Just
Um,
because of the mess. Or
well, the mess, but I arranged for our cleaner to come in after us. So they did tidy up, but I think it's nice to have your photos getting ready, not in your house.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it feels a bit more special, doesn't it?
Did you have pictures of getting ready at your house? Oh, I've never seen them.
Yeah, none of my pictures have seen the light of day. There's like 3 of them.
Your
Um,
favourite has seen the light of day of you and Jordan from behind.
yeah, it's just we're just looking down at our venue, aren't we? And it's just the
Mm.
two of our backs,
Hmm.
no faces. Can't get that wrong, really, can you?
No faces, no, just the back of your heads.
Um, should I just keep going with my list?
Yeah, keep going with
Just
your
keep,
list. Yeah.
just keep going. I would prep people a little bit better on the day of what needed to be done.
Your
Um,
suppliers or
no, more like my dad. You need to be there for the first dance, Dad. You know, I would make sure that everybody sort of knew what was going on a bit more because
Mhm.
I was sort of running around a bit at some points trying to get people to do stuff. I would 100% tell everybody to change their buttonholes from the wrong side to the right side.
I think the only person that would notice is you though.
Oh no, Jay, if you look at my photo, they had like, we've talked about this before, but my buttonholes were like really pretty big peach roses
Mhm.
and they all had them on the wrong side, upside down. I just,
So that it's supposed to go on the left, I presume, the same side as your heart.
is it? That makes,
I don't know, is it?
I think, yeah, yeah. I left,
But
don't
they
know,
had them with the flower facing down
down and on the other lapel.
on the right.
Yeah.
Who did
So,
that?
so there was a bit of translate. There was a bit of something that happened in translation between the florist and whoever was looking after the buttonholes. Because I had female buttonholes too for like my nana and mum
Yeah.
and everybody. The female ones go on the other side upside down.
Oh.
So in translation, they all ended up on the wrong side upside down.
When you walked up, were you like what? Walking down the aisle like, oh, greatest day of my life, and then you're like, what the?
Well,
What did you do with the buttonhole?
when we arrived at the venue, we kind of got ferried in the back because I had to meet the registrar. And my dad had gone off to get Jordan to do his bow tie up because he couldn't work out how to do it. And then he'd come back. And I was like, Dad, what's on with your flower? He's like, oh, that's how everybody's got them on like that. And in that moment, I was like, that's not right. But when you got so much going on, and I was starting
Yeah.
to get really nervous for
Hmm.
like walking down the aisle and everything. No, I just didn't have it in me to do anything about it. But I knew it was wrong. But what I should have said is, can somebody go and change everybody's
Yeah. Dad, can
buttonholes?
you just go and tell everyone that it's all wrong and that they need to have it this way?
Yeah, I wouldn't send my dad. I would send somebody else. But yeah, so I would 100% speak up about that because
Mm,
every time I look at my photos, that is literally all I see.
that's annoying for you.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other one is I would get my dress, make sure I would have said something about my dress being too tight because
Mhm.
I didn't eat anything all day because I was just so uncomfortable. So, and I would have had a drink. I didn't have a drink. I didn't literally have any alcohol.
Just because you were busy, or
Well, but during dinner, well, during canapes, we were having photos. And then during dinner, I wasn't sat at the table because I was lying down because my dress was too tight.
Mhm.
And then come disco, that's me then, isn't it? I don't
Mm.
really leave the floor.
Mhm.
I didn't have a drink at all. Didn't eat anything, didn't drink anything.
Opposite to my wedding, where I drank everything.
So yeah, quite a bit I would change.
What about your venue?
I mean, we've been to hundreds of venues. I think I would change my venue if I was to get like married again to Jordan, but I wouldn't change my venue. I liked it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can't wait till your second wedding, your vow renewal.
Do you reckon that would be 10 years or 20 years where you should do that?
10?
10. That's not that
Yes.
long ago. It's only a couple of years away.
Great. I'll plan it for you.
I don't know if I can afford it, Jen,
Well, we'll see.
especially with the plans I've got, you know.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be fun to do it all again?
It would, yeah.
Yeah.
I would not be as stressed.
No.
And I would also not be as um I would be stricter on my guest list too.
Hmm. Some similarities
So
have come
basically it's
through.
just me and you there.
Fine by me.
Yeah.
We have a great
Fine.
time. I mean, you might want to invite George.
Oh yeah, yeah. He might be useful, yeah.
Some similarities to things that our listeners have got in touch with.
Okay.
But I prepared a list of the things that I would change. First of all, I would hire a wedding stylist.
Yep.
And again, not because that's now what we do, but I don't want to have to worry about the signage. I don't want to have to worry about where I'm going to store it all. I don't
No.
want to have to worry about how many lanterns I need to buy so that I don't want that.
No.
You just and even if it was like a £1,500 quote, to me now that's money well spent
Yeah. Because
because
you spend £1,000 on a load of rubbish that don't, by the time I'd bought all of my paper baubles and I'd bought the wool to wrap all the jars and I'd bought the little tiny easels and I'd bought this and that and then panic bought a few things the day before, you spent £1,000 easy,
Mhm.
haven't you?
And the waste or the oh god, now I'm gonna have to sell it all, and where am I going to keep it for the next 8 months, and oh, I
Yeah.
need to make sure I buy the stencils and the right pens to make my own signage. I don't, life is so short,
Yeah.
and you have way more important things to be worrying about than your styling
Yeah, exactly.
and your centerpieces. Didn't even know where to start with that. I found that really stressful, but I thought, no, I'm going to save money and I'm going to do it all myself.
Mm.
No,
You don't save money, do you?
no, I don't save money. I don't save time. I don't save stress. No.
No.
Uh,
And you still get you still get exactly what you want, you know,
but without
but
any hassle
without any hassle.
or any
And then
setting up, clearing up.
they come and take it all away at the
They
end
do
of the night
everything.
or the next day.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about a thing.
No, I would, that would be my number one thing too.
Photo booth backdrop. So we did talk about it a few episodes ago. I loved having the Polaroid photo booth. Thought that was great because people had the control. But as we talked about, you need somebody to manage that. So somebody encouraging people, somebody making sure that everyone's been in, blah blah blah. But I think I would just prefer. I think even just the brick wall would have been fine.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was stressing. Oh, I need to have a backdrop. Yeah, blah 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 blah. No, I didn't. I think it would have looked better with a brick wall.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have probably added photo booth onto mine because I tried to do it yourself and everything was out of focus and bit shit.
Mm.
And by the time I'd bought some special lights and a new, a little clicker for my camera and the memory card and the tripod, all of that stuff, like I should have just bought a photo booth.
Yeah, because you need to think about all of those details.
Yeah.
Whereas you could just hire someone in. 500 quid.
Yep.
Done.
Do it.
I also put my dress.
What would you?
I don't know. I would probably quite like to have a different style. And it was also too big.
Mm.
So I wanted it tight because it was strapless on day 2. I wanted it super tight so that I wouldn't have to be hoisting it up all day. And where I shedded like half a stone in 2 weeks from last fitting to wedding day, it just didn't fit properly.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have necessarily known that, but I knew that.
Would you change your dress because your style has changed a bit, or would you change your dress because actually you didn't really like it?
Oh no, I loved it.
Okay.
I would just want to try something different.
Oh yeah, 100%. You wouldn't get married. You wouldn't renew your vows in the same dress, would you?
Absolutely not. Any excuse to wear something bridal, I'm all over it.
Yep.
I also was thinking that, as you said, maybe now because I've seen different venues and what they offer, like when we're having Ian's birthday party, I really like it as a wedding venue because you can stay on site. There's loads of accommodation. It's really laid back, casual, countryside, really nice venue, big enough or small enough, depending on how many people. I just think I would do that a little bit differently, but
Yeah.
only because I've looked at so many other venues.
Yeah. We have got the advantage, haven't we, of going
Mm,
and setting up all different venues and knowing what we would do.
yeah. I also think I would, and I'm not just saying this, but I would look to listen to podcast or something similar so I can understand a real life version of going through the process.
Yeah.
Because as a bride, you don't want any of your friends telling you, oh, well, you just wait till you go and do your dress shopping. I don't want to hear that from people. But I'll happily listen to a podcast where people are talking about it, sharing real, what it's like to be a real life bride, not a bride in a movie,
Yeah.
to manage my own expectations a little bit better.
Yeah, because you do think everything's going to be absolutely
Like magical.
amazing and the fireworks are going to go off at every decision that you make, and actually it's not like that at all, is it? You're second
No.
guessing yourself, you're making decisions rashly because somebody's pestering you to that they need this date and that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to guess what the most popular answer was from the
From our
response?
listeners.
Yeah,
Oh, I was going to say dress, but
no.
that no. Hang on, let me think. Their partner. Is that it?
One of my favourite ones, I would have changed my husband.
Yeah.
But a lot of people said at my first wedding, I would have changed the groom. But a lot, well, we'll go through who said that. Not names, of course, because it's an anonymous feedback.
Yes, I'm
So,
not there. I'm not there yet. Oh, I still love mine.
there are days where I should have married for money, not love, but he's hanging in there.
I mean, if mine didn't lose all of his hair, it might have been a bit better. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's
You can't get hair plugs, so that's not all doom and gloom.
the thing is, he's not bothered. He's absolutely not bothered. It's me that's like, hey, want to go to Turkey?
Lucky hair.
I've even started. There's a Instagram. I think she's Australian. She's called the Toupee Queen, and she
Oh,
does some really, really, really good toupees that are like semi-permanent. They look. You turn like an average-looking guy into
handsome.
a film star just by putting some hair on their heads.
Do you send these
I sent them
reels to Jordan?
100%. I do. He's like, oh, that's interesting. Delete. I
Would he ever consider a toupee?
don't think so. He's just not bothered. He just doesn't care.
Yeah, but short a toupee. You can be like, oh, I'm not really sure. I'll just try it on. You're not getting hair plugs from Turkey if you like.
Can
You
you
just
imagine one day he just comes to like some, like, if we're going out for a Sunday lunch and he's got a full head of hair that's all styled and everybody's like, do we say anything? Or
you're looking well. Something's different. Have you lost weight?
yeah.
I think I would literally just be like looking at the top of his head the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
like trying to look at like what's going on. Is it glued down? What are we looking at? I would just
And then
spend the
just
whole
starts
time doing
flapping
that.
in the wind.
Yeah, just spend the whole time looking at it.
Yeah. Because when I first met him, he had a really strong head of hair.
Yeah.
It's just the last 20 years it's gone downhill.
One common denominator in
If
the
anybody in the local area is a toupee
toupee queen.
expert, please get in touch.
I'm gonna look at this now when we come off recording
Yes,
tonight.
it's absolutely amazing, the transformations.
Can you send me the page and I'll have a
Yeah.
look? Then I'll start sending Jordan the toupee reels. Shall we stop talking about Jordan's new toupee and hear what our listeners had to say?
Yes, that is why I'm here.
So we obviously said we put the question out and just said, if you were to get married again, what's the one thing that you would change, or what are the things that you would change? Lots of lovely feedback, lots of things to think about, I think, when you're planning your own wedding. Em and I obviously work in the industry, so it's a bit different. We get to see behind the scenes of venues and how different suppliers work and all of that kind of thing. But if you're going through this process and you want to learn from others, this is a great episode for that. Anonymous listener number 1. I think I would have given myself more me time when getting ready on the morning of. Also, wouldn't have included so many people in the wedding party. I don't even speak to some people that were at our wedding, but now have to see them in my photos all the time.
I 100% agree with this.
Yeah. I always think that you should probably either have lifelong friends or family only
Yeah.
in your in bridal party, groomsmen, that kind of thing. Because if you're lifelong friends, not a lot's probably going to change there if you've been friends for like 38 years or however long it is, or if they're your family, because they're not going to stop being your family.
No.
If
Yeah, because your friendships do come and go,
yeah,
don't they? And that's like a natural thing. But yeah, and also if there's loads of you, everything just takes longer. So like the listener said, you get less time as a bride, because if
mhm,
you've got 6 bridesmaids and there's a couple of makeup artists and a couple of hairstylists, they've got to rattle through them, and
mm,
you're part of that. You might get an extra 15 minutes in the makeup chair, but that's about it.
mhm,
If there is only 3 of you, or there was only 3 of us, it's so much more relaxed, and you get that top up time at the end, and they faff with you, and because they're not like, and you're not starting at 4 o'clock in the morning.
no, you don't want that on your wedding day. I don't think that's
No,
early.
that's so early.
Em and I were also chatting to somebody yesterday who said that they'd been on a hen do with 41 people on it. 41 people at a hen do.
Who knows 41 people?
I don't even like that many people.
No, that's what I was thinking when she said it. I was like, I couldn't write down 41 people that I actually like.
No. That are
Does
just
that speak
girls.
more about ours than them, though?
No, because then you've got to find bookings for 41 people. No one's going to say, oh, yeah, I'd like to book a table for 41 people, please.
Yeah.
No, that's called a wedding.
There's no Airbnb in Manchester that's going to fit you all in, is there?
No way. You're looking at hotel, but book separately because a lot of hotels don't take a group booking of that size. That's 20 rooms. They're going to be like, nah, you're right.
Yeah, and they know it's going to be rowdy, so they'll
Mhm.
be like, no, thank you.
Next one.
Yes, please.
I'd have a real photographer. We didn't have one at the time because we arranged it all in 4 months and we couldn't really afford it. But we didn't have the sort of normal photos that a real photographer would have done, like the groom and the best man, me and my bridesmaids, me and my son. And only have a couple of me and my husband outside and none with family and friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even though I don't look at my photos very often, it is quite comforting knowing that they're there.
Hmm.
And there
But there
are,
is something that captured the day.
yeah. My cousin had a quite low key wedding, and they didn't have a official photographer. They just borrowed my like proper camera, and there was a semi photographer that borrowed it and used it.
Hmm.
But even then, it's still a guest at the wedding, so it got put down a lot of the time because obviously he was having a beer and chatting,
Hmm.
and so
How did their pictures turn out?
I think they're a bit hit and miss.
Hmm.
There was a couple of nice ones. There was a couple of group ones outside the registry office. But the photographer was good at things that standing still, not so good at capturing
Like
things that were
candids.
moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think even if you just get a half day package, you don't need to have a full day package, do you? Just a half day package where they come for maybe 3 hours and just
Hmm.
capture the middle part of the day, which is where everybody's at, isn't it?
Mm. Then you can have your sort of staged pictures, a few candids,
Yeah,
bits of the ceremony, walking out, all of that kind of thing.
yeah. I would cut if I would cut things out to have that. So I would cut the cake out. I'd cut maybe a few of the canapes out to have a photographer.
Because you want something to look back on.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Uh, Next one. This is, I think, a few in one. The food didn't really work. It was cold by the last people having it. We should have had hog roast for lunch and just buffet in the evening, as that was wasted. Photographer was a waste of time. Think she was more there enjoying herself instead of just doing her job, but she was a work friend and was more
Oh,
of a startup hobby, so we thought saving money there was a good idea, but definitely not. We don't have any photos of us with parents, bridesmaids, groomsmen, etc. I also would have had more lighting, candles, and better balloons in the venue.
yeah. So there's lots of things that we've already sort of touched on, isn't there?
Mm.
There's another one with a photographer. Get a proper like everybody thinks they can take photos.
Hmm.
It's actually a real skill, I think.
And capturing, and like we said in a couple of episodes, getting people organized and getting the right people together and
Mhm.
moving them into position. And oh, we need mother and father of the bride, mother and father, like organizing the people.
Yeah,
If you're just doing this as a hobby,
yeah.
have you done that before?
And then the lighting and decor, get someone to come and do that for you too.
Mm.
I think a lot of people forget about lighting because you go into a venue and you think, oh yeah, it's gonna have lights.
Hmm.
It doesn't even you don't even think about it, but it really does make or break, especially the evening.
How do you feel about those venues that, oh, yeah, we'll turn on the fairy lights, but that's an extra £600?
It winds me up.
Me too.
I understand that there being a small surcharge if they have to rig it. So they have the festoon lighting, but they have to rig it, from the beams up into the chandelier or whatever they're doing.
Mhm.
I understand, but like a £50 surcharge, not in the hundreds. You're just paying somebody to put them up, really.
Mhm.
But when they're just there and you can see the plug, what are you paying for? I'm paying to hire the venue and the electricity. We're going to have electricity going. One little row of fairy lights isn't going to cost £300 for 4 hours, is it? I
No.
think it's ridiculous.
It really upsets me
Yeah.
because you're basically held at ransom by your venue, because who is actually going to say, no, I don't actually want those fairy lights. I'm not paying £600 for you to turn a switch on. You're not going to say that because they've put the fairy lights in for a reason, because everyone's going to say yes to that.
Yes.
It should just be included.
It's horrendous.
When we have our wedding venue, there'll be no hidden extras on the fairy lights or festoons, because that's ridiculous.
Venues have hidden extras on it, loads of stuff. You need to read your contracts, people.
100%. Sometimes you have to buy your own bar license because the venue doesn't carry one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you joking me? This is your one job of
I
my
know.
wedding, to host the people and the alcohol.
I've seen it before where um the toilets were like, the posh Portaloo cabin thing, and you had to pay a couple of £100 to get them emptied at the end of the wedding. So no, that's it, part of the cost.
That sounds like a you
That's your
problem to me.
problem. Yeah,
I have nothing to do with your toilets.
no. It's,
That's
we read your
outrageous.
contracts, people.
I'm not paying for poo collectors.
No. Just like if you're a venue, just incorporate them kind of things into your costs. Because what is that couple going to do? No, sorry, we're not going to use the toilets. We
But
won't have
also,
toilets for our all-day event.
you are venue hire. That's it. So set your price, make a profit, but include your switching on of the lights and your emptying of the toilet. Include that, because that's
Yeah,
part of the venue.
I
Don't be
know.
like, well, it's 4,000 for the room, but then if you would like the lights turned on, that's £600 for every hour that you have them on, and we have a meter that we'll be checking. If you want to use the toilets, that's also going to cost you. And also, you have to bring all of your own kitchen on site, and you'll need a license for your. No!
I had to pay to hire a kitchen. There was a kitchen, but it was empty, and so the caterer had to bring ovens and little things like that. You need to.
And fridges and ice and
Mhm.
all of those other things.
Yeah,
I understand glassware, etc. I get it. That's fine. Crockery, okay, fine. Linens, okay, fine. Toilets and lights, no, no, no.
I know.
It's
I
like,
would.
oh, yeah, you're gonna have to hire the venue, but you'll need to get it completely retiled because it doesn't have a roof right now. Okay, aren't you just gonna use the roof though after I've gone? Yeah.
Cool.
If I'm paying to have the festoon lights turned on for £600, I will be taking those festoon lights home with me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But another thing that I would actually do, even though I love my venue, I did have to hire the kitchen in, which pretty much added another third onto my catering costs.
But did they tell you up front? It wasn't like, oh, surprise, you need to bring a kitchen in.
So it was definitely sort of talked about. It wasn't hidden, but I didn't really understand the implications
Hmm.
because it was almost sold as you caterer will know exactly what to do in the kitchen. Oh, cool, yeah. I didn't think, oh, they're going to have to hire 3 ovens, 4 fridges, plate warmer, or this, or that, or that, a
Hmm.
dishwasher. Didn't think that through.
Hmm. I don't think you would though if you're doing a venue walkthrough. You'd be like, oh, when you speak to your caterer, we've got some recommended suppliers. You worked with this venue before, that's absolutely fine. They'll have to bring their own equipment. Okay. You're not walking around like, okay, but there's like 3 fridges in here already. I can't see a cooker, so they're gonna have it. You're not thinking about that.
No.
But you would.
Equipment, you think like knives and
Plates.
plates and maybe a whizzer and a
Yeah.
you
Some
literally.
bowls to put the Aldi crisps in. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. What was the first bit of that
The,
listeners?
the food didn't really work. It was cold by the last people having it, so I presume the food was served to the table, but by
Yeah.
the last table was served, it was cold. We should have had hog roast for lunch and just buffet in the evening, as that was wasted. So I presume that the buffet wasn't even used.
Yeah. It is hard when there's sit down dinner. That's why at a wedding, the catering's often a little bit, I would say, off.
Hmm.
Because when you're catering for large numbers of people and you've got to serve a table at a time, it does get cold by the time.
Hmm.
And also by the time that first table, the last table has had their food just delivered, the first table have finished.
Yeah.
So
And
I
they'd
think
have
that's
to
why
bring in
more.
like heat lamps if they're bringing in their own kitchen to keep the food. What sounds really stressful. Next one. Some guests were a nightmare, and my friend's boyfriend caused so much drama at the end, and there were people we forgot to invite to the evening.
Oh, well, that can't be helped, I don't think.
No.
Your people issues they happen at every wedding, don't they?
Have you ever been to a wedding where there's been security?
Only when they were chasing me out of a fountain.
Right, yeah. Not like doorman because it's going to be rowdy.
No, it was more security because it was a big castle. So it was just the general security guards of the grounds.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've never been to a where they've had to actually hire in security because they know there's going to be bus stops.
I saw a TikTok the other day where the TikTok, it wasn't about this, but I'll set the scene. It was this woman's birthday party. It looked like it was at their house, but it could have been like a large golf club venue style, but it looked club like but house like.
Mm-hmm.
And the TikTok was basically her husband lip syncing to Taylor Swift. So it's really funny. She's like this big burly security guard, but she pitched it as when your husband's managing security and breaks out into Taylor Swift. But it was her birthday party. Her husband was managing the security team. And I just thought, how rowdy is it going to get? Because it sounded like it was a room full of women.
Were they famous?
The husband wasn't, no. And it didn't say, it wasn't like from a celebrity account or anything like that.
Maybe they thought they were like D-list Instagram like influencers, so they needed security in case
Mm.
anybody tried to gate crash.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I've never
Mm.
been to a wedding with bodyguards.
No. I mean, I'd like to.
Mm, me too.
Next one. I would spend more time with my husband and probably change the guest list. I invited people I barely spoke to or invited them for the sake of my parents.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Hmm. I didn't.
No.
The
How did you
only
get how,
table that I begrudgingly accepted was Ian's friends that I'd never met before.
but he was probably grateful that they were there.
Uh, yeah. But we both said that if we haven't met these people before, and if we are not prepared to buy them dinner, why would we be hosting them at our wedding? And that
Yeah.
was sort of the rule that we stuck to, because
Yeah, that is a good one.
I didn't want loads of people that I didn't know.
I didn't have anybody that I didn't know, but I definitely have people now that I don't really speak to. Not through any, not nothing really happened. You just fade apart, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a bit of a waste of money.
Mm.
But then if you don't invite people because you think, oh, might not be friends with them in 4 years' time,
You don't think like that, do you?
you're not going to have anyone there, are you?
No. But as we've said before, you definitely learn who your people are during the wedding planning process for sure.
Yeah, you do.
In hindsight, at least one speech where we could raise a glass to absent loved ones would have been good. I presume casual wedding, no
Yep.
speeches.
Yeah.
First
I don't,
wedding, the groom. Second wedding was in South Africa, and in hindsight, although a lovely day, we should have just done it on our own without the fuss and palaver.
a lot of people are eloping now, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. I also think, wouldn't that be great just to have a wedding, the two of you?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about saying hi to people or saying hello to every single person. Thank you for coming to every single person. There's a lot of pressure, I think, to host. But why? They're
Well,
not
we put it on
expecting
ourselves,
you.
don't we?
They're not expecting you to say hi to every single person in the room.
I saw a TikTok the other day, well, it was a reel actually, where it said it was like a montage of a bride and groom enjoying their party. And it says, remember, you're the guest of honor, not the host.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
So you shouldn't be hosting anyone.
No.
You should just be turning up and
Mm-hmm.
having a great time. But you're not, are you? You're worried saying thank you for coming,
Mm-hmm.
people to drink.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe you should hire somebody to do that.
How would you do that? On behalf of the bride and groom, I'd like to say
I'd
thank you
like
for
to thank you
coming.
for coming.
Yeah, it's just another side hustle. I just turn up to weddings and
I
people.
represent the bride and groom.
How do you know them? I don't. We've had 2 Zoom consultations.
Oh, yeah. But I think that's a great one to have.
Yep.
Next one, I would limit the amount of photos so I could spend more time with my guests. And I would have done more research into the videographer and made it clear to him what I actually wanted instead of him deciding what went into the video.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
I
huge
would.
fan of being a control freak when it comes to the creative direction of your wedding,
Yes.
whether
I would
the
definitely
supplier
have.
likes it or not.
I would definitely have less photos and spend more time, especially in the in that day part.
Mm,
Because I did actually say to my photographer when I booked her that I don't want to be out having photos the whole time, but it didn't happen.
mm,
We were.
yeah. Next one, I would have changed my husband.
Savage.
That's all they said. The next one, I would change my dress. I wanted a sleek dress, not a wide dress. I was talked into the meringue by my mum.
That's awful.
Mm,
That's why you should go dress shopping on your own
hmm
with just one friend that's going to tell you the truth.
hmm And also, you don't want to be wearing something that you don't want to be wearing,
I
because then
know.
you're going to be self-conscious the whole day. And then you will look back on it and think, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
I bet Mum bought that dress,
Mm,
so she felt like she had a say.
yeah. And you kind of feel like you have to go with that. I don't know, very uncomfortable. I wouldn't have had a long top table because I felt cramped and stuck when I wanted to get out. And I wish I had taken 10 minutes with my new husband on our own without anybody there, just the two of us. Yeah, long top table. Until you actually sit at it, I think it looks great because you can see the entire wedding party.
Yeah.
But practically, if you're the bride and you've got a great big dress on and you're tucked at the top of the room and it's literally your table, the chair, a little bit of room to pull the chair out on a wall,
Yeah.
that's not a lot of room.
No,
How are you going to get out for a wee?
yeah, and also you can only talk to the people to the sides of you, which is your husband, which is great, and whoever's sat next to you. You can't, like, at a round table, you can like talk to the whole table. But it's a bit awkward.
Yeah. And I haven't been a bride at a top table, shock. But as a bridesmaid, I've been on a couple of top tables, and you kind of feel like either everyone's looking at you or you're looking at everyone. There's
Yeah,
no like,
you're just watching people
yeah,
have fun on their tables and just sat there not talking to anybody.
yeah.
It's really awkward. I would definitely have a sweetheart table.
Although I have to say, when I sat on my best friend's top table, I was sat next to her and she
Okay.
was sat next to her husband. So we were like catching up on, oh, what did you think about what so and so's wearing? Oh, did you expect blah 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 to turn up with their plus one? So we were sort of catching up about the day. So it was really different to
It's
very
not
formal
often
top
like that
table.
though, is it?
No.
Yeah, my top table was awkward.
But
Yeah,
it's your people.
I know, but it's just everyone's a bit talked out as well by the time you sit down. So I would definitely have a sweetheart table because it's like two birds with one stone. You get to just be like just the two of you, so you can just gossip or say what you're worried about or whatever you need to talk to. And that is your time just to be alone. And fair enough, people will be looking at you, but when the food comes, I think it would be, I would 100%. They look so cute as well. They're really nice to style.
Yeah. Little table for two, please.
Yeah.
My first wedding, I would change the groom. Second wedding, I would change the weather. Everything else is perfect.
Can't really change the weather though, can you? Nothing you can do about it apart from have
Plan for it.
B's, yeah.
Yeah. That is it from our listeners. So changing the groom or husband was the most popular answer.
Yeah. Photography come up a few times.
Yeah, photography and then decor.
Yep. And guests.
Guests, yeah. Do not invite your parents' friends if you don't know their names.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that.
And don't invite Mary from work because you just sit next to her.
Do you remember those days where you used to have to go in the office and you had like a desk buddy?
I know.
The good old days, AM.
Yeah, it was good.
Sat next to me.
I do miss it sometimes, don't you? When you're just in our day jobs, sort of just sat on your own in your room.
I literally walked into my office this morning and I was like, chained to the desk. I said those words out loud.
Yeah.
I'm not chained to the desk.
Yeah.
It was Monday morning though, so I was doom and gloom. Please like, subscribe, rate and review our podcast on whatever platform you listen or watch us on. Keep up to date with the podcast by following our Instagram account. It's at the I Do Crew podcast. Please share with all of your friends our wonderful reels and send us your questions or topics you'd like us to chat through. Next week, we're talking all things wedding entertainment. I'm really excited. It's going to be a good episode next week. Not that today wasn't, but
DJ.
Something up my sleeve for you, next week.
Oh, have you?
Yep. But until then, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
You've been listening to the I Do Crew podcast with Jen and Emma. Keep Keep up to date with our podcast news by following our I Do Crew podcast Instagram account. Thanks for listening.